Matthew 10:37. If anyone loves their father or mother more than me, or their daughter or son more than me, then they are not worthy of me. Jesus said this because, well, Alex, doesn't the commandments say to honor your father and mother? Honoring your father and mother means making them look good, making them feel proud that they're your son and daughter. So, say that. I want to give you an example of, of what I went through. So, before I when I became born again, or was becoming born again, I'll look up things about the Antichrist and about Obama being the Antichrist. And I left the tab open on the computer, and my mom saw it, and she told a bunch of my family relatives. And my relatives kind of called me crazy, dismissed me as crazy for looking up all these things, and thought I was going to go to an insane asylum for looking up these things. Well, brothers and sisters, the devil's going to throw all they can at you to bring you away from God. I could have dismissed that as being completely crazy, and that could have led me away from God. But knowing the truth, it led me towards God, because I knew that the devil was trying to lead me away from the truth. But anyway, many of you are going through persecution by your family members, and they're saying, get off the computer, spend time studying, do this, do things of the world. Don't focus on God's ministry. Don't focus on leading people towards God, because you're making yourself look stupid and you're wasting your time. Let me tell you something. The only time you're wasting is the person's time who doesn't believe. But actually, you're not even wasting their time. You're actually preaching the word of God to them, and hopefully the seed will grow in their mind. But anyway, so I'm going to give you an example. Your son or daughter wants to buy a violent video game, and that violent video game is to say Grand Theft Auto. And I'll tell you right now, Grand Theft Auto was a top-selling game in 2015. Many people bought it, and you can see why it's a top-selling game, because we're in the last days, and people are wicked as crap. They're far from God, far from the truth. And Grand Theft Auto, for those of you who don't know, it's a game where it might sound crazy, but you run around and you hijack cars, you shoot people, you do crimes, and you make money for stealing, robbing banks, and you basically get rewarded in the game for doing evil things. And you run away from the cops, you shoot the cops, you do all these things that are wicked. And God says anybody who practices wickedness is an enemy of God. So if your son or daughter comes to you at Christmas and says, "Oh, I want this video game for Christmas. I love you, Mom. Please give me this game for Christmas," and end up don't buying them that game because you love God more than them, then you did a good job as a parent, because you're leading them towards God. Instead of buying that video game, bring them a Bible. Hide that Bible in a video game case or something. That will tick them off, but in the end it'll work out good, right? Lead them towards God, because if you're not leading them towards God, you're leading them towards the enemy. And if you love the world more than you love God, then you're going to serve man, and you're going to fall into man's. You're going to want to be accepted by men, and you're going to want to be loved by men and the world. The Bible says anyone who is friends with the world is an enemy of God. The world is evil. That's why it said that. But that's all I really wanted to say in this video. Those of you who are being persecuted by your family members for trying to spread the faith, trying to do all these things, and they tell you to get off the computer and stop researching these things and stop doing this thing. That's the enemy right there. That's the enemy trying to draw you away from God. That's the enemy trying to stop the spreading the word of God. And as crazy as the enemy calls you, as crazy as your parents call you, don't listen to them. Spread the word of God. God will protect you. God will win in the end. And when you disappear, they won't be scratching their heads asking where you are. And they won't be dying of thirst wondering where you are, because they'll have water that will be provided by you, and Bibles that will be provided by you, because you cared about them and you stood up for the faith. While you'll be in heaven sipping a pina colada without alcohol, they'll be on earth regretting what they said to you instead of actually listening to what you said. Spread love towards them. Treat them with love. Don't always judge them. Correct them if they start to do evil things, because you don't want yourself to fall into those evil things. The devil's crafty, guys. The devil will do anything. I'll tell you right now, I was at work today, or yesterday, and when I was out at work, I had to go down the basement to get an auto part, and, as a prank, someone put a pornography poster on a pallet where a forklift would grab, and that poster was seen by me, and right now I'm going through sexual temptation like everyone else, and that's the devil working right there. Never would have expected that. Never would have saw that coming. Would I expect to see a good-looking girl in a store that the enemy brought there? Of course I would. But would I ever imagined to see a poster down the basement of that? No, I wouldn't have, because the enemy is crafty in what he does. But anyway, there's many examples I'm not going to go over because I don't feel like talking about them. But anyway, guys, have a blessed night. Thanks.